At our family's Easter brunch, I was told to just grab a spot on the floor. We didn't plan on plus ones, my husband's cousin laughed. I replied good. What I brought wasn't planned either. I slid a foreclosure notice across the table. The laughter stopped instantly. Just grab a spot on the floor, Rachel said, not even bothering to look at me. I stood in the doorway, still holding the lemon tart I'd baked last night at 2 a.m., because, heaven forbid, someone brings store-bought to the infamous Easter brunch at Aunt Cheryl's. Oh, I said slowly, blinking. There's no room at the table? Rachel giggled and sipped her mimosa. We didn't plan on plus ones. I stared at her. I'm Nate's wife. Right, she said, finally glancing up at me with a sugary sweet smile. But you weren't on the list. A few cousins laughed. I heard someone murmur, awkward, under their breath. My husband, Nate, was across the room talking to Uncle Mark, not even noticing that I was still standing in the foyer like an unwanted guest. Where should I put the pie? I asked, still trying to keep my voice level. Rachel waved a hand. There's a little folding table in the laundry room. We're using it for, overflow snacks. My jaw tightened. Oh, and careful, she added. The dog peed there earlier, but I think we got it all. Someone snorted. Aunt Cheryl walked by just then and gave me a tight smile. You know how it is, too many people, not enough chairs. That's why I told Rachel no plus ones. I'm not a plus one, I said, my voice sharp now. I'm part of this family. Cheryl shrugged. Of course you are, honey. We're just tight on space. Next year, maybe we'll rent tables. I stood there, still holding the pie, still in my coat, watching as everyone chatted, drank, laughed like I wasn't even in the room. And that's when something inside me snapped. I walked to the main table, my heels clicking hard against the floor. Everyone went quiet when they saw me coming. I reached into my bag and pulled out an envelope. What's that? Rachel asked, the same fake grin on her face. I didn't say a word. I placed the envelope right between the deviled eggs and the glazed ham. Then I turned around and walked toward the door. Wait, what is that? Someone called out behind me. I stopped in the doorway, looked back over my shoulder and said, something I didn't plan to bring. But maybe you'll make room for it on the floor. Then I walked out, leaving them in stunned silence. I didn't even make it to the car before the first scream came from inside the house. 5 hours before I dropped that envelope onto Aunt Cheryl's Easter table, I was standing in the bathroom, staring at my reflection with my hands trembling. I'd curled my hair, done my makeup just right, picked a pastel dress I didn't even like, all because I wanted to make a good impression on people who never saw me as one of them. You're going for Nate, I told myself. Not for them. That's what I always told myself. Because deep down I knew, this family never accepted me. Not when we got engaged. Not at the wedding. Not even 5 years into our marriage. I wasn't one of them. I was Nate's plus one with a credit card. It started early. At our wedding, I overheard Aunt Cheryl whisper to Nate's mother. She seems not really our type. Maybe it's just a phase? And his mom replied, we all go through weird phases. He'll grow out of it. I heard it. I swallowed it. I thought, they just don't know me yet. So I tried harder. I cooked for every family gathering. I offered rides. I remembered every birthday. But nothing changed. When Nate lost his job during COVID, I picked up extra freelance work and still brought wine to every family dinner. When Uncle Don's business went under, I co-signed a loan to help out just this once. No one else had the credit score. No one else even offered. Nate didn't say no. He just said it means a lot to them. When cousin Rachel needed help after getting temporarily laid off, I asked my company's HR to get her an interview. She ghosted the interview. Then at dinner said, good thing I didn't have to work under your control freak energy. I laughed it off. But something inside me chipped. I told myself, they'll love you once you give enough. Once you prove you belong. So I gave. Christmas, I bought gifts for Nate's nieces and nephews, iPads, books, even a bike, while the rest of the family gave them socks or $10 Target cards. When Aunt Cheryl wanted to redo her kitchen, I helped out by covering the down payment. When Nate's mom got behind on her credit card, I paid it off and let her tell everyone she figured it out. No one ever said thank you. But I kept going. Because maybe, just maybe, if I was generous enough, they'd stop seeing me as a guest. But it only got worse. Last Thanksgiving, they literally sat me at the kids' table. With name tags. Mine said, Emily, Nate's wife. Not Emily. Not family. Just a role. A label. Like I didn't exist outside of him. I whispered to Nate, why am I sitting with the kids? He shrugged. It's just for seating. Don't take it personally. But it was always personal. I saw the way they all praised Rachel for bringing store-bought pies. She's busy, bless her heart, while judging me for not making my crust from scratch. I heard Cheryl say once in the kitchen, not knowing I was behind her, she tries too hard. You can smell the desperation. The other woman laughed. She thinks she can buy her way in. And maybe I did. Maybe I thought if I just kept giving, they'd finally say you belong. But instead, they called me generous only behind my back. To my face? I was intense. Over-involved. Too sensitive. I asked Nate once late at night, do they even like me? He rolled over in bed and said, they're just used to things being a certain way. It's not personal. Always that line. It's not personal. Except it was my money. My time. My effort. My personal life on hold for people who treated me like a seasonal accessory. And then came Easter. When Nate told me we were invited to brunch, I asked, can we skip this one? Maybe see my parents instead? He shook his head. You know they'd take that personally. It's a big tradition. Right. Tradition. Tradition where I pay, they smile, and I get a folding chair in the corner. So I baked the lemon tart. I bought flowers. I packed the gifts for the kids. And after 2 nights of staring at it, I took the envelope. Just in case. I didn't plan to use it. I told myself I was above that. But when Rachel looked me in the eye and said, just grab a spot on the floor, something snapped. All those years. All those dollars. All those sacrifices. And the only thing they saw in me was someone who could sit on the floor. So I placed the pie down. I smiled. I reached into my bag. And I knew. Today they wouldn't just taste lemon tart. They'd taste what it feels like to ignore someone until she stops caring. But I wasn't going to make a scene. Not yet. Let them laugh. Let them pass around the deviled eggs and cheap wine. Let them pretend they're still in control. Until they opened that envelope. And realized they should have made room for more than just a seat at the table. I didn't expect them to open the envelope right away. But of course they did. Because gossip is more sacred in this family than prayer before a meal. I was halfway down the walkway to the car when the front door slammed open. Emily. It was Rachel. Her heels clacked against the porch, envelope in hand. What is this? I turned around slowly. You opened it, I said flatly. Didn't think you'd be able to wait. What does this mean? Her voice cracked, high-pitched now. Foreclosure? Are you saying my dad's losing the building? I crossed my arms. No. I'm saying I'm done covering for him. The door behind her swung wider. Cheryl appeared, flushed and frantic. Nate's uncle pushed past both of them, pale as a ghost. You can't be serious, he barked. You wouldn't. I would. I did. I looked him straight in the eye. 6 months of no payments. After I co-signed. After I took that risk. You think I'm going to ruin my credit for a man who won't even look me in the eye at Easter brunch? More people started filtering out now. Nate, his cousins, even the kids stopped running around. Everyone was staring. What's going on? Nate asked, stepping beside me. His voice was low, almost embarrassed. Your family's about to find out what happens when they treat someone like a doormat with a checkbook, I said. Rachel scoffed. This is out of control. I tilted my head. Is it? Or is it just the first time I said no, and you don't know how to handle it? And Cheryl walked down the stairs toward me, her arms folded like she was about to scold a child. We're family, she said slowly. You don't threaten family. I laughed. Loud. Ugly. No, you use family. You manipulate them into paying for your messes, then tell them to sit on the floor and stay quiet. You're overreacting, she snapped. Really? I took a step forward. Who helped you with your kitchen remodel last year? Who paid for your appliances when your savings mysteriously evaporated? Her face flushed. That was a gift. No, I snapped. That was me trying to earn a seat at this table. I turned to Rachel. Who got you an interview at my company and vouched for you? You skipped it and then called me controlling. I let it go. She looked away. I turned to Nate's uncle. Who took out a loan on their name so you wouldn't lose your warehouse? Who covered your missed payments for 3 months quietly so no one would be embarrassed? He stared at the ground. I looked around. And what did I get in return? You laughed at me behind my back. Called me desperate. Told me to sit on the floor. No one said a word. Then Nate spoke. Emily, this isn't the time or place. I turned on him. Really? Then when is the right time, Nate? Because I've waited 5 years for you to say something when they treated me like a stranger. 5 years of you shrugging and saying they didn't mean it. He went pale. I took a breath, steadied myself. You know what? I said. You're right. This isn't the time. Because I shouldn't even be here. I shouldn't have ever been here. A voice piped up from behind. Cheryl's husband. This is dramatic. It's just money. That did it. Just money. I shouted. Just money. You have no idea what I gave up for this family. The vacations I didn't take. The emergencies I ignored in my life to bail out yours. You never saw it because you never asked. I looked at Nate again. You never asked. Silence fell again. The kind that sinks in and stays heavy. Cheryl blinked. You really would let the bank take it, wouldn't you? Just to make a point. I nodded. I'm not making a point. I'm making a boundary. Rachel shook her head. You're ruining Easter. No, I said, you did that the moment you decided I didn't deserve a chair. Then I looked at Nate. Straight in the eyes. You have a choice. You can stay here and pretend this is normal. Or you can come with me and finally stop playing the silent son. His mouth opened. Closed. Then stayed that way. No one moved. So I did. I turned, walked to my car, and drove away, slowly, deliberately, while behind me, Easter brunch fell into stunned, chaotic silence. They never saw me as family. And now? They never will again. I didn't cry. Not in the car, not at home, not the next morning. Instead, I slept for 12 straight hours. No nightmares. No mental checklists. No budget math whispering in my ear. Just quiet. When I woke up, sunlight was pouring through the window like I hadn't seen in months. Or maybe I just hadn't noticed it before. The house was still. Nate never came home that night. Or the next. He texted once. They're really upset. I need to calm things down. I stared at the message for 10 full seconds. Then I deleted it. By day 3, I changed the locks. By day 5, I packed his things and left them on the porch in neat boxes labeled bedroom, office, memorabilia. He didn't come for them. I think he knew better. In the silence that followed, something strange happened. I came back to life. I played music loud. Not the soft jazz he liked, but angry guitars and women with rage in their voices. I drank wine from the bottle while dancing barefoot in the kitchen. I wore silk pajamas until noon and blasted the AC without guilt. I burned candles until the wax puddled. I didn't shrink myself anymore. And then the letters started arriving. First came the official one from the bank confirming foreclosure proceedings. The loan would default unless full payment was made by the end of the month. My name was on the paperwork. But this time I wasn't paying a cent. Then an email from Cheryl. You'll regret this. No, hi, no, sincerely. Just a cold threat from a woman who once asked me to host her baby shower. Who cried when I brought her a birthday cake with her dog's name on it. Next came a text from Rachel. A photo attachment. It was a screenshot. A group chat I'd never seen. Title. Operation Seating Chart. My name was right there, Emily. Rachel, do we have to put her at the table? Cheryl, she's not real family. Nate's mom, maybe a stool in the kitchen? Or floor? Nate, she won't complain. She never does. And the one that broke something deep inside me. She's used to being left out. She'll survive. I didn't scream. Didn't throw my phone. Didn't fall apart. I just laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was finally clear. Nate hadn't stayed silent all those years because he didn't notice. He stayed silent because he agreed. I was never one of them. I was a resource. A convenience. A sponsor. And I had finally cut them off. I forwarded the screenshot to my lawyer. Called the bank and confirmed I wouldn't be liable once the property was sold. The house of cards was falling and I wasn't under it anymore. I didn't answer any more calls. Not even when Nate texted again 3 days later. Can we talk? They're saying you're blowing things out of proportion. I left him on read. The following week, I was curled on the couch watching the menu with popcorn in my lap when someone knocked on the door. I muted the TV. I expected Cheryl. Maybe even Nate. But it was Brian, Nate's quiet, awkward cousin. The one who always looked a little out of place, a little uncomfortable, like he'd rather be anywhere else. He was holding a manila folder and looked like he hadn't slept. I know I'm probably the last person you want to see, he said. But I think you need to see this. I stepped aside wordless. He walked in, sat at the table, and opened the folder like he was about to deliver a police report. Inside, printed documents. Screenshots. Photos of banking apps. A copy of a credit card application with my name on it. "This is yours, right?" he asked. "Except, you didn't open this account." I skimmed it. The blood drained from my face. Home Depot. Chase Freedom. Capital One. All in my name. Transactions I'd never made. Items I'd never purchased. A line of credit tied to my social security number, used to buy renovation tools, retreat expenses, and even a wedding dress boutique in Sedona. "Rachel's account," Brian explained, pointing to the screenshots. "She used your PayPal to make payments. Said you were reimbursing her." I blinked. "How did she get into my PayPal?" "You once used it at Cheryl's house. On the family computer." He paused. "They copied your login. Then guessed your password reset questions using Nate's Facebook." My chest was tight. "How long has this been going on?" "Over a year. But that's not the worst part." He pulled out a copy of the warehouse loan. Refinanced. Without my knowledge. And my digital signature pasted in. He looked up at me. "I think they forged it," he said. "I can help prove it." I sank into a chair. Why would you come forward now?" His face twitched. "Embarrassment? Shame? Because they did this to me once," he admitted. "Used my name to co-sign a second car loan. Then defaulted and let my credit tank. I let it go. I told myself it was family." He looked me in the eye. "They don't stop. They just move to the next person." I stared at the folder again. All the years I thought I was helping, I was being stolen from. It wasn't just emotional manipulation. It was fraud. Identity theft. A coordinated scheme, and I was the scapegoat. Brian leaned forward. "I'm pressing charges," he said. "You should too." I exhaled slowly. "They'll deny everything." He nodded. "That's why we go together. 2 complaints. Same pattern. They won't be able to bury it." I stared at the documents. The final nail in the coffin. Not guilt. Not shame. But evidence. I looked at Brian and smiled. "Let's tear the whole thing apart." The court date was set for mid-May. By then, my name was cleared on 2 fraudulent credit cards, the warehouse loan had officially defaulted, and Rachel's bank account had been frozen. Cheryl's Home Depot card? Flagged. Turns out, using someone's digital identity to fund a family-wide shopping spree isn't just unethical. It's criminal. Their lawyer tried to call it a misunderstanding. Brian and I called it a pattern. By the end of the first hearing, the judge ordered an independent forensic audit. I walked out of the courthouse in heels and sunglasses, the kind you only wear when you don't care who's watching because you know they are. News travels fast in Nate's family. The brunch group chat? Disbanded. Rachel. Silent on Instagram. Cheryl? Hosting prayer circles for attacks on our unity. Even Nate, the man who said I was used to being left out, finally called. I didn't pick up, but I listened to the voicemail. I didn't know it would go this far. "Can we talk? Please. They're saying you've ruined the family." I replayed it once, then deleted it. I didn't ruin the family. I just turned on the lights. A week later, I was sitting at a coffee shop across town, my favorite one, where no one called me, just Nate's wife, when I got a message on LinkedIn from someone I didn't expect. Jenna K., Brian's wife, the accountant. "Hey Emily, I know we've never really talked, but I just wanted to say thank you. You standing up changed everything. Brian finally cut ties. And we're moving. We're free. Thought you should know that." I read it twice, then again. And that's when the tears came. Not sadness, not rage, but something I hadn't felt in a long time. Relief. I wasn't alone. It wasn't all for nothing. 2 days later, something even stranger happened. I got a letter. Real paper. Real envelope. No return address. Inside one sentence. Handwritten in shaky cursive. "You were never the problem. I'm sorry I didn't speak up." No name. But I knew who it was. Kelly. Nate's cousin's wife. The one who never spoke. The one who always looked like she was holding her breath at those family dinners. I smiled. I didn't need revenge. I didn't need apologies. But wow, it felt good to know someone saw the truth. 3 weeks after that, I ran into Nate. At the grocery store. In front of the frozen peas. He looked thinner. Unshaved. like the weight of decades of family politics had finally collapsed on top of him. "Emily," he said. Voice low. "Careful." I said nothing. "I heard about the audit," he continued. "Cheryl's freaking out. Rachel might lose her car." I raised an eyebrow. He hesitated. "I know I should have defended you. You should have stood with me," I corrected. "Not defended me like some pet project." He winced. "I thought if I stayed neutral it would be easier." "For who?" He didn't answer. After a long silence he said, "If you ever need help." "I won't," I cut him off. "But thanks." Then I picked up my frozen peas, turned and walked away. And just like that he became what I should have let him be years ago. A stranger in a shared aisle. Today it's been 4 months. The case is still ongoing but the damage is done to them. My credit's clean. My accounts are locked. I started freelancing again full-time. And you know what? I've never been more solvent. Or more savage. I take vacations alone. I cook dinner in silence and it tastes better than anything at Cheryl's table. I buy flowers every Friday not for a holiday. Just because I can. I'm not saving receipts for anyone anymore. The old me? She died the day they laughed about sitting me on the floor. The new me? She doesn't beg for seats. She builds her own table. And only invites the kind of people who bring their own chairs, plates, and respect. Family isn't blood. It's boundaries. And now that I finally set mine, I'm free.